Hey everybody, sorry it's been so long since my last post. I've just had things going on, you know, life in general, and the weather's been really bad and just having other things come up. I haven't really had time to mess with things in the shop, so I wanted to get back out here today. It's kind of a nice day. It's really windy, but I'm here in my lean-to on the side of my shop, so I apologize for the noise. I'm here to work on this this Willys, this Jeep. I've got a little bit of a Bondo issue right here, if you can see right there. I've got some cracking Bondo, I've got some pieces that have fallen out. So I'm going to be pulling off all of this Bondo right here and taking all of that out and rebondoing the entire fender here where it meets this front fender, or I guess you call this the cowl where it meets the fender. And so I'll be working on that project today and bringing you along for the ride. Okay, so as I mentioned, the first thing I'm going to do is take a sander here and just get rid of, with some pretty high grit sandpaper. I think this is probably 80, maybe 120 grit. I'm not sure. It's not labeled, but I'll just kind of get this old stuff off, and I'm going to take it back as far as about right here. There's a little bit of cracking. I don't know if you can see that, but a little bit of cracking in the overall Bondo from about here down to here, and then straight forward to that where that fender meets. And so I'm going to be taking out that section. I don't think it's going to be that big of a job. It's just, you know, be kind of dirty and dusty. That's why it's out here in the lean-to, and I'll take it back to bare metal, and then we'll start Bondoing from there. All right, guys. So that's a little bit better close-up of what I'm talking about, where this cowl meets the fender, and I've got a little bit of cracking right there, just to kind of show you a little bit more close-up. Really, kind of a bad situation because it's really a nice paint job. The hardest part really has been getting matching paint, and I'm not even really sure what I have from the paint shop is actually going to match really good, but I'm going to try to basically blend it into this fender and blend it into this cowl. May have to take this windshield bracket off to kind of get that process done, but we'll get into it. Alright guys, so you can get a close-up look of what I'm working on here. That's my little patch job. A lot of Bondo was used in this area basically to smooth out this cowl. I noticed I clipped the hood a little bit right there. There's a little bit of Bondo right there. So kind of an amazing thing that I'm finding out on this truck or this Jeep is that it's literally got a skim coat all over it. I mean, in a lot of the areas, fenders and things like that, even I got into the fender a little bit right here. It's got a little bit of a skim coat of Bondo on it. So, man, a lot of time and effort went into this Jeep getting it ready. So, I mean, it's a very straight Jeep. I mean, like when I told you guys on my first videos, and you can see the links above, but this was a fully restored Jeep when we first got it. Oh gosh, 3, 4, 5 years ago, something like that. And then it went out and spent some time on a farm, basically a deer hunting farm. And it's got just little cracks, things like that every once in a while. And some of this deeper Bondo, you can see. Oh, I hope you can see that. You know, it's probably about a 1/4 inch thick right there, whereas the rest of this is maybe an 1/8 inch or a 1/16 inch. So some of it's a little deeper, especially in this pocket, you know, going up into this fender where it meets this fender. But the rest of this stuff is just basically skim coat, it looks like. So a little bit deeper on that hood section right there.
Probably again another 1/4 inch right there as it came in. But if you run your hand across this vehicle, it is so smooth, and that's been the issue that I've been trying to fight against, and the paint guy was trying to fight against, is literally trying to figure out what kind of sheen this was. It's just a very unusual sheen. It's like a, I don't know, it's like a satin type finish. It's not matte, but it's more of a satin. And then so trying to find a paint color to paint match it, and then more importantly finding the correct sheen. I don't even know if this is going to turn out right, but we're going to give it a shot. So I went ahead and cleaned this all off, blew it all off with the air gun, and then I used some of this Griot's paint prep to kind of clean it up. You can see some of the residue that I got off of the fender, you know, picking up the extra dust and just dirt and oil. I'll hit it one more time because I've been putting my hands all over it. That way the Bondo has a really good area to bond to. And then I'm going to build it out probably about a 1/4 inch up here, and then taper it down into this fender, into this cowl, and then I'm going to obviously block sand this to get it flat. I did screw up and I hit this fender a few times, but I think just a real light rubbing with some sandpaper on that, some high grit will get that down. Same thing here, and then I'm going to obviously try to blend this entire patch area right in this area with the new paint. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. It could be terrible. I hope not. I hope the paint matches really well and you're not going to be able to see it. Now, I'm a very amateur painter, so again, I'm kind of just doing this just as I go. I've painted a few things here and there, but I've never done a blend job before, and so this could be interesting. But I'm going to give it a shot, and you're going to be with me to look at all the ups and the downs. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of downs though. Guys, here's a look at all the basically the products that I'm going to be using. Here's the paint that's been mixed up for me. It's Safari Beige. It's a matrix color, and he put on the mixing instructions for the hardener and reducer. So here's some 5-star extreme hardener, and you got some 5-star extreme reducer. And then here is basically the clear coat. That's this satin clear coat. Got to, it says on there, matte finish clear coat, old school look, no gloss. And so you've got a 6-to-1 ratio on this. You got to shake this up really good. The guy was really insistent about that because basically those particles are just suspended in that clear coat, that matte basically look, or the material is suspended in the actual clear coat itself, so you got to shake it up really good. And of course I'm going to just use some good old Bondo to fill in that hole, and then I showed you earlier the Griot's paint prep. Here's actually the piece that I took in that came off of that area right there, and I used this as my paint match. So again, I hope it's close. I think the color is going to be close. I'm not so much worried about the color so much as I'm worried about the clear coat. And going that on and seeing if I can get that blended in well. And again, I'm not an auto body guy, so this is kind of my first time doing this, so we're gonna have to figure this out. Guys, I'm actually gonna switch some things up here a little bit. I was looking through my drawer and finding my Bondo paddles and stuff, and ran across this fiberglass, or it's reinforced fiberglass filler Bondo glass. I don't know if this is the right thing to do, but I think I'm going to change my mind and use this rather than the lightweight, just Bondo. Mainly because I feel like this area has got so much flex in it, and that's what's caused a lot of the cracking to begin with. There wasn't any rust underneath that I could see, so I think it's just a flex issue. And I think that this lightweight, you know, although it's great for sanding and getting a paintable, really nice paintable finish, I really think that reinforced fiberglass Bondo is actually going to be a better product for this area right here. I think it's going to kind of hold it together, and it's going to crack a lot less. I may be completely wrong, guys. Again, I don't know much about this, but I'm going to go with just kind of my instincts and think that that's okay. If it's not, I'd love to hear your comments below about it so I can learn something. But at this point in time, I'm going to go ahead and put some of this fiberglass Bondo on right here, and I think that's the thing to get this job done. All right, guys, so you can see the kind of the finished product, or at least the beginning of the Bondo process. Got it applied and got it as clean as far as on the application process as I could. Even put a little bit up here on that nick on the hood. Got my tools all cleaned up. And now the container says this thing, or this stuff cures in about 15 to 30 minutes. I'm actually going to let it sit overnight just because I have to move on to other projects today. And that's really, I think it's going to cure really well there. Then I'm going to come back, sand it, and then we'll start the paint prep process. And again, you can see all the products that I'm going to be using in this video. I'll make sure that I put links below once I get to the painting process. I'll put links below to the actual Bondo process on this video. Alright guys, I think that's going to wrap up this video. This is going to be a series of 2 videos, maybe even 3, depending on kind of that paint process, how that all works out. I'm going to be watching a lot of YouTube videos over the next few days to figure out kind of how to do this paint process. Again, I'm a self-taught kind of guy, and have never really done this before. I've done, touch-up painting, things like that on parts that are off a vehicle. I've never painted on a vehicle before. So this is going to be a first one for me, so I'm going to have to kind of learn how this process goes. A lot of great content out there on YouTube that's helping me through this process. Got the Bondo on, showed you the products I'm going to be using, and now it's just ready to let that cure, get it sanded down, get a nice finish going, tack cloth everything off, and start painting, and then let that dry, and then go for the clear coat. And again, really curious to see if that paint's going to be a match. And then the clear coat, that's probably the part that's making me the most nervous, because I just really don't know what the rest of the sheen was that was put on this car. I don't know if it was a single stage paint. To me it seems like it is, but the paint shop guy was just insistent on that this was a dual stage system to where you have a base coat and a clear. I don't know if that's true or not, so we're going to kind of go in this and discover it together. But again, I apologize for that. It's been such a long time since my last video. Again, life happens the way it goes. The other thing, the reason I'm splitting this up into 2 videos is I have no idea. Hoovy, I gotta give you props, man, because Hoovy's Garage out there, he does videos in like 9 to 11 minutes. I have no idea how he does that. He gets so much content into a 10-minute span. Man, I do some of the editing on these videos sometimes, and I'm like at 30 minutes and having to figure out what in the world can I cut to get down to a reasonable amount of time so you don't spend your whole day watching this video. So I'm going to go ahead and split it up into 2 different videos on this case, maybe even a third depending on that clear coat situation, to kind of see, make it a little bit more bite-sized for you guys as far as 10 to 12-minute videos. That's my goal, so that you can watch them, when you're in a waiting room or, something like that, something quickly. So that's my goal. Guys, appreciate the patience. Man, lots of comments. I'm still getting a lot of votes on whether I should or should not include the graphics on Old Bones. So make sure you go back. I'll put that link above. Go back and look at that video and give me a yes or a no on yes, the graphics should go on, or no, the graphics should not go on. I appreciate that. I'm going to let this go for probably about another week. As you can tell, I got other projects in between that I'm going to kind of put Old Bones on maybe a couple of weeks out before I can get back to it. I've got gauges going in, I got radio going in, I got graphics going on, but just some other things have kind of come in front of it. So stay tuned for that. Guys, thanks for watching. God bless and have a good day.